Welcome to the EOB podcast, where we talk about the weekend box office and the new openings this week. I'm Ben No, and joining me is Sen Duong. So Sen, I guess happy President's Day or week,
Or,
one of
or
those.
happy, not my President's Day, as more than half of the country are celebrating.
Oh, really? Okay, so there's that going on. So I'm kind of out of the loop here. So
Right. Yeah, there's some more protests, not my President's Day.
all right. Instead of celebration, there are protests. I guess which is
Yeah.
kind of good too. I mean, okay too. I mean, depending on which way you lean. Well, I said that Trump is going to test the, I guess, the foundation of all the branches.
Yeah, it's odd that a majority of the people are just not not celebrating.
The thing is, I guess people are protesting really is Donald Trump, not
Yeah.
a Republican president. It's that Donald Trump. I guess if it's any other Republican president, I think they're okay with it, right?
Yeah,
But it's just
yeah,
that guy.
yeah. That guy scares them, and so what he's been doing so far has been scary.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But we'll talk about the movies.
All right, let's go back to what we are here for, right? Which is the weekend box office.
Right.
We have 3 new releases that opened last weekend. The Great Wall, Fist Fight, and The Cure for Wellness. And I think 2 of them kind of fall within our projections, right?
Yeah. What was your number and what was my number for the Great Wall?
Oh, Fist Fight, I had 15. You say 12 to 15.
Oh, okay. So we were right on the mark.
Pretty close. The Great Wall, I said 15. You said 10. So I'm there. I'm kind of there, right?
Yeah, you're pretty good.
Yeah,
You're pretty
but
good. What about Cure for Wellness?
A Cure for Wellness, I said 10 and you say 7 to 8. So
Okay.
not quite there, but still kind of there,
yeah.
right? With say less than 10. That's what
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were projecting. All right, so how about we jump right in to the box office? We are using the 3-day figures, right?
Sure. Or should we go with the 4 days? Since,
Well, because I think
Monday was
our
a holiday.
yeah, it's a
Oh
holiday.
yeah, our
but,
projections were for
but our
the 3 days,
projections
right.
were for 3 days. So I think we could go with the
Yeah.
3-day and then mention the 4 days as well.
All right, sure.
All right. How about I start off with the number 1 movie of the weekend? It is the Lego Batman movie. It pulled in 33 million in the second weekend. The 4-day figure is 42 million. So it's actually holding on quite well. It did not open as high as the Lego movie, but it has legs as we expected this movie to have.
Yeah, it's a spin-off from the Lego movie. Like we said last week, people were expecting more, but hey, it's doing good. It's doing solid.
Right, and as you said, right, they're gonna get their own Lego cinematic universe. Even though it might not be superhero Lego movies, it might be other thing as well, and various spin-off.
Yeah.
They can't do this because they're following the the Illumination Universal model, where they keep the budget to around 80 million or so. They're
Yeah.
gonna make bank. They're gonna make a lot of money with this kind of model.
Right, and the next one is the Ninjago movie.
Right. And of course, it's good for Warner Brothers, and it's good for the Lego brand, right? It has this
Yeah.
feedback loop. People will go out and buy more Legos.
Yep. My son has been reminding me every week when the Ninjago movie is coming out, even though it's not coming out until September.
There you go. Empirical proof that it's working.
Yeah, I wonder how well the Ninjago movie will do, though. So obviously, it's not Batman. That's the thing. I'm not sure how familiar people are with Ninjago.
It's actually quite big. If you walk along the toy aisles, right, the Ninjago section is actually quite big.
So,
But I'm not
so we'll
sure-
see.
Yeah, I'm not sure if people will watch the movie because my son is into Lego, so Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
so he's not into Ninjago as much, but the Lego's
Yeah.
trying to push their own brand. Instead of like having Batman and pay Warner Brothers some royalties, right? They're creating their own superheroes with like Ninjagos. They're creating their own futuristic thing with their other own branded properties. So
Right.
yeah, it's not Batman, but for kids, they might know a lot more. They might know
Yeah.
Ninjago more than Batman, for example, right?
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that one does.
Right.
But the Lego Batman movie, is solid. It didn't do as well as people expected, but hey, these are solid numbers.
Right, solid numbers. And as we said, they're gonna make more Batman movies. I mean, not just Batman movies, more Lego movies.
Right. And worldwide is done 72 million overseas, so the worldwide total is 179 million, which is already more than twice its budget of 80 million. And so, like you said, they're gonna make bank on this.
Right, right. Okay, how about we move along to number two, which is 50 Shades Darker, the sequel to 50 Shades of Grey. It experienced a huge drop off as we expected, 56%, pulled in about 20.3 million over 3 days. The 4 day figure is, well, not much better, 23.2. As you said, there was a Valentine's Day bump on a Tuesday last week.
Yeah, yeah,
But then it fell off afterwards.
yeah. Right. It does make a huge difference because that's like 12 extra million on a weekday, which is typically slow for movies. And 50 Shades Darker, it didn't fall off the cliff in the second weekend like the first film did. After 2 weeks, it's already grossed 92 million. Let me see how well the first film did on a weekly basis.
I think it did pretty well. It became a global phenomenon, right?
But yeah, it did pretty well. But I'm just wondering like how it did on the second weekend.
Right, okay. Well, you say that it didn't fall off a cliff. I mean, even though it's not a cliff, the fall is still pretty steep.
Yeah. Okay, so the first film after 2 weeks did 137 million after 2 weeks, and 50 Shades Darker is at 89 million. So yeah, about 50 million off of the first film. The first film is really front loaded. The first film eventually did 166 million domestically. This one is already at 90, so hey, it won't get to 167, but it might get to around maybe 130-ish, which isn't too far off of the first film.
Yeah. Well, the second movie didn't do as well as the first is because the first movie got a lot of hype, where
Yeah.
even the audience who normally don't go watch this movie will go because it's kind of like the first movie that features like the SM whatever, and that's went into the mainstream.
The S&M cinematic universe.
Yeah, right. So that went to the mainstream. People were going out to see what it's all about, right? But
Yeah.
then, okay, they've seen the movie.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't help that the second movie is not that well reviewed as well. Even though the first one's not that well
Yeah.
reviewed, but the second one, even among people who've seen the first, said it's not as good.
Yeah, right. It's 9% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
And with the worldwide figure is at 279 million after 2 weeks, which is pretty good. And with a budget of just 55 million, it's already making buttloads of money for Universal.
True, and I guess the third movie is still okay. I mean, I
Yeah.
think we will see a drop off at the domestic market, but I think on a worldwide basis, it's Universal's okay. They're saying okay,
Yeah.
we still have the foreign markets.
Right.
Yeah, how about we move along to number three? One of the new movies that opened last week. It's The Great Wall. It pulled in 18.5 million over 3 days and 21.6 million over 4 days.
Right. It's Zhang Zimu directed film starring Matt Damon.
Yes.
And it's not, it's a fantasy. It's not a historical drama. It's a alternate fantasy movie about why China built the Great Wall, and it's, like we said in previous weeks, to protect against evil monsters.
Right.
The 18 million is a lot better than what we expected. I think, what number did I put it at?
Oh, you say 10.
Yeah, and you had it at what?
18. No, 15.
Yeah, so you were pretty close. And I think it did better than what the people in the industry was expecting, probably because of Matt Damon.
Yep. Here's the thing. We said that it's an easy mix of Western and Eastern influences, and normally those things don't work out as well. And one of the things is because of the language barrier, right?
Yeah, right.
Matt Damon's right there speaking English. We have these Chinese actors speaking English.
Trying to speak English. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to speak English. I mean, they might not speak English normally, right? But they probably mouth it off, and people would dub over it or something. Who knows? So there's this difficulty in it's kind of like acting against a green screen. You don't get the chemistry, as you said in the last podcast, between the actors.
Right, right. And I saw it over the weekend, and I agree with those observations. You don't feel that chemistry between Matt Damon and kind of like his love interest in the movie. Andy Lau did okay. Tianjin, there's no chemistry there, but I think on the whole, it's one of those films that if you just look at it as a entertainment, it works pretty well. It's pretty interesting. Like in terms of a Chinese movie, you really see monsters and these kind of fantasy movies in a Chinese historical film. Everything's pretty well done on a craftsmanship level. Zhang Yimou, of course, the film looks great. And on a technical level, it's pretty well done. The only problem with a film like this is it follows the same War of the Worlds or Star Wars, where you kill the queen and all the monsters die, or you blow up the center of the Death Star and the whole thing blows up. The film would have been better if the climactic battle wasn't so easily achieved. Let's put it this way.
Well, of course, that the battle or the difficulty is really those Chinese actors trying to speak English.
Yeah.
Once they get over
Okay,
that,
good
it's
one.
smooth sailing.
Yeah, right. I mean, even though you don't quite feel that chemistry between the American actors and the Chinese actors, it was okay. It didn't ruin the film. What held the film back was that ending. I don't think I'm ruining it for anyone. Well, maybe I am. It's just one of those things where they took the War of the Worlds approach. You kill the queen and everyone else just dies. It's one of those plot things that kind of has to be laid to rest now, because we all seen it, we all know it, and it's a bit tired now.
Well, yeah, but that's the easy way out, right? They have this big battle and they have to resolve it somehow, and the movie needs to end.
Right. That's what I mean. It's the easy way out.
It needs to end at that point. So
Yeah.
that's what they did.
Yeah, but the film, had they not take the easy way out, it would have been pretty entertaining, because it was engaging. It's like lots of things that you really see in historical Chinese movie or in Hollywood movies too. It's definitely very different, and it was engaging until the end. But the film wasn't that well reviewed. It was I think only 35% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it did better than what people in the industry were expecting.
A bit better, a bit better.
Yeah, a bit better, including us. And I think a lot of it has to do with Matt Damon. It's a typical non-Jason Bourne Matt Damon opening, which is in the 18 to 20 million mark.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, you can't keep on cranking these 150 million, which is the official number, right? But it's higher, and expect it to do well. I mean, even though they have the support of the Chinese government behind it, they can keep pouring money into these kind of movies.
Well, it's a Chinese studio. I'm not sure if it's the Chinese government.
Right.
It's a Chinese studio.
They're all interconnected, really, right? So
it depends. It depends. One of them is, but one of them isn't. But you might have to look at this as kind of like a Hollywood film, where the Chinese market is a secondary market. Whereas this one, you might have to look at it as it's mostly a Chinese film, with the U.S. market is a secondary market. And if you look at it that way, 100 million production, it has already grossed 170 million in China, and another 75 million elsewhere, not including the U.S. So in non-U.S. markets, it has already grossed about 245 million. So it's not just a film that did well in China, it also did decent outside of China. And worldwide is at 266 million. 450 million, it still needs to make another 35 million or so, and it looks like it will to break even.
We'll see.
Well, I mean, it'll make at least another 20 million in the US, and overseas, it's still going, and looks like it'll probably, in a couple more weeks, it'll probably get to 300. And there's still some pretty big markets where it hasn't opened in yet, like Japan.
Well, sure. But I agree with you that the Chinese market is first for this movie,
Yeah.
and then here, or at least over the U.S. or Western market, is secondary. And we know that China has been trying to increase its soft influence, which is exporting their culture. And movies is one of the ways to do that. And it's okay, not the success they want to be, right?
Yeah, well, it's better than the Flowers of War, the previous Zhang Zimu movie that tried to cross over to the U.S. With that one, they used Christian Bale.
Yeah, that is a
Huh?
Chinese movie. That's a Chinese story that takes place, not here. This one is in a fantasy land, which I think is a bit better.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And the problem with the Flowers of War is, they have Christian Bale playing a character that's not quite likable, and the storyline, like you said, isn't something that appeals to American audiences. This one is a better mix. I mean, Matt Damon plays a more heroic character, something that will appeal more to his fans. With Christian Bale, he's Batman, so in the Flowers of War, he plays someone who's not very heroic, not something that fans of Chris Nolan Batman movies will want to see. But this one is a bit closer to Matt Damon's fans, his brand.
Sure. Look. I'm sure it will do better if this movie takes place, say for example the Mexican
In the
border,
US.
right? Yeah, in the
Right,
U.S.
right.
Mexican border, Matt Damon right there, with a shotgun or whatever, with even Chinese actors fighting off hordes of monsters coming across that thing, right? You think that would do better?
I don't know. Look, there were more people that voted against Donald Trump than they all. He won because of the Electoral College. Sure, I guess they can promote it as to the alt-right, to the extreme Republicans.
Oh, I'm not talking about any
Yeah.
politics here, but I'm just saying that if it takes place, domestically,
Well, that's
people
the
can
thing. I
relate
don't. I
more.
think this film there will be a lot of protests against it if it was about the Great Mexican Wall, and I don't think
Yeah.
Matt Damon would sign up for it.
Right.
Yeah.
True. But the thing is, like, I think it will work better if it takes place here, but it won't work as well in China.
Yeah, if the setting is in the U.S., but without the wall, because the wall is just so controversial.
Right. We have to get our daily dose of politics in, right?
Okay, I think we need to move on.
We need to move on, but I'm saying 18 million, 3 days. Wow, not good. I think better
Yeah, I mean,
than
if this was a
expected.
pure U.S. film
Hmm.
with a budget of 150 million, it would be considered a bomb. But because this is kind of a secondary market, the main market is China, and it did do well in China and in territories outside of China.
Okay, but do you think that it will hold up in theaters here?
Films on average make about 3 times their opening on average. So which means this will probably make another, like 3 times 18,
40.
it'll probably make another 36 million,
Hmm.
which will put it in the around 50 something million range. Plus, the foreign markets will push it over 300 millions. And even at a 150 million budget, they won't lose money and they might even make a slight profit on it.
Okay, well, keep an eye on for the Great Wall. All right, let's move along to number 4, which is John Wick Chapter 2, put in about 16.1 million 3 days and 19.1 million over 4 days. Still doing quite well, right? The second movie, commercially and critically, is better than the first. I think the domestic take right now is about 61 million.
Yeah, surprisingly, one of the best reviewed films out there.
Yeah. We have to put in context. This is an action movie with a guy with a gun and like killing bad guys, and it's over 90%.
Yeah, not just a guy with a gun, a guy doing kung fu with gun. I mean, this is this is what they call gun fu, which is something that Jet Li used to do in Hong Kong. They finally made it mainstream.
Yeah, the thing is, Hollywood kind of took whatever that is great in Hong Kong movies, right, and made it their own.
Oh,
And yeah,
yeah,
we'll talk a little bit about Hong Kong movies. Is that right now the Hong Kong market is floundering, because there's nothing really that makes it stands out anymore.
it's been floundering. But they tried gun fu before in 2012 with Christian Bale in Equilibrium. They didn't do that well, but they tried it again. They tried it again with Keanu Reeves, and gun fu is finally in the mainstream. Gun Fu, not Kung Fu.
Right, gun fu. I think they
Yeah,
also did it with you kind of like the transporter movies with Jaden Statham, right?
kind of, but not really.
Okay. There are some elements in it, but
Yeah, some elements. Yeah,
right. As we said, we will be seeing chapter 3 at some point because how well the second movie is doing.
yeah, right. Speaking of fights, fight scenes, let's move on to the fifth film on our list. Fist fight. Not the kind of intricate fight scenes that you see in John Wick. This is a simpler kind of fight scene between two teachers who were pissed at each other in high school.
Yeah, it's a comedy starring Ice Cube and who's that guy? Charlie Day. Yes, Ice Cube and
Yeah.
Charlie Day.
I mean, it's a good cast. It's well cast, and it did as well as you and I were expecting.
Yeah, we had it around the, like you say 12 to 15, I said 15. It's around there.
Yeah, and it's typical Ice Cube opening, for a comedy, although slightly lower.
Kind of expected, and I think it's one of these in a line of adults going back to their adolescent phase.
Yeah. People our age would understand it. I wonder if like the millennials understand it.
I think they do.
Do they still have fist fights?
Sure, I
after school fist fights.
Yeah, I think they do. Maybe not as much because I think they're more clamped down on these things right now. But
yeah, especially with anti-bullying and stuff.
Right. There's still talks. I mean, people still use words to taunt each other. So these things are timeless. these taunting.
Yeah.
But like I say, it did as well as where we expected to do. It's one of these comedy. I don't think it will become a classic, right? But it's there.
The budget's probably pretty low, and New Line will probably make a decent profit on it.
Right, and when Ice Cube or Charlie Day go to these conventions, people won't be asking them like, "Hey, when are you gonna make Fist Fight 2, for example?" Right?
Right. And I can totally see this film doing well on home video.
All right. How about we move on to number 6, Hidden Figures. It pulled in 7.3 million 3 days and 8.7 million 4 days. It continues to do well. The drop off is only for 3 days 9.4. For 4 days, it's actually got a bump.
Yeah, this film
more.
Yeah, this film is holding on really, really well. I wasn't expecting it to hold on that well, but it's holding on better than La La Land.
Yeah, it's just that when you talk to people about like the Oscar contenders, right? They would take off La La Land. They would say, Hidden Figures is better than expected, right?
Well, they would take off La La Land and Manchester by the Sea or Moonlight, and Hidden Figures is not anywhere near there. But hey.
But the thing is, just like La La Land, right? It's kind of a feel-good movie. If people were on the fence about watching it, they say, "Oh, hey, it looks like a funny movie." I guess that's why we're seeing why it's so leggy.
Yeah, well, and it's probably comfort food, something that especially with the current events, this is probably something good for the country. They can go there, watch it, feel good about themselves.
No, they're out there protesting. I know.
Yeah, right.
All right, number 7, Split, is the M. Night Shyamalan horror movie. Did 7.2 million 3 days, 8.3 million 4 days, and it's continuing to do well. It crossed the 100 million barrier. Right now, the domestic gross is 124. Worldwide, it's nearing 200 million.
Yeah, super impressive for a $9 million movie.
Like we said, M. Night Shyamalan has got his mojo back, mainly because of the low budget of his movies.
Yeah, he's self-financing these films. With the profits from this, he can self-finance 10 more of these movies if he can keep the budget as low.
Well, as long as he partners up with Jason Blum, he's the horror guy who always controls the budget.
Yep.
He'll be okay.
Right. All right, let's move on to the next film on our list. A Dog's Purpose did 5.7 million over the weekend. That's a 3-day figure. What's the 4-day figure, Ben?
4 days, 7.4.
Yeah, so holding on pretty well. It passed the 50 million mark, and it's doing modestly well. Looks like it'll keep on going and probably top out at around 70 million, which is pretty good despite the controversy that eventually wasn't really a controversy, something that was edited by TMC to create controversy.
Right, and like Hidden Figures, The Dog's Purpose actually got a bump on Monday. It's like when people got off, it's one of these movies that are on their list to see, and it seems like that's what they went to see as well.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so number 9, moving along, is La La Land. It's put in 4.6 million 3 days and 5.4 million 4 days. The domestic gross so far is 134 million, and on a worldwide level, it's at 340.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
Because this is the movie that people are talking about with Oscars coming along so close, right? It's getting that bump. It on a Monday, it actually have an increase of 9.2 million. Not 9.2 million, but 9.2% increase. Yeah. So, like I said, it is the leading contender right now, but, we might see an upset as with the past Oscars.
They might go for a film that is lower profile, like Moonlight, or I don't know, Manchester by the Sea. There's some controversy with Casey Affleck. They might just go with something like Hidden Figures. That's just well-liked, feel-good film that everyone can go and watch. But if we're going towards a recent trend, they might, they usually go for a film that needs the attention.
Right. People voting for third-party candidates, for example.
Yeah, right.
They
exactly.
say, oh, La La Land's gonna win anyway. I'm gonna vote for some other movie.
Yeah.
And the movie that people expected to win might not win.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Hidden Figures, Hidden Figures domestically on the box office has surpassed La La Land, but overseas it's only did about 21 million. La La Land overseas is like doing even better than domestic, so that's pretty crazy.
Right. Like 300 million, and the budget's only 30 million, so it's one of these successes when we're talking about movies, and because it's a musical, right? It has dancing, it's a return to those movies of old. Like we don't see these movies being made anymore because of the skills involved.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the skills involved. It's just kind of, dated, and there's not much of an audience for them.
Well, if they see, look, money speaks louder than words, right?
Yeah, because we would see more of these if a lot of people went out to see every single one of them. But I think
which kind of did, right? Like, I mean, the ones that came out, like Chicago, did well. Even an artist is not a musical, but that did well.
But I mean, like we're not seeing these like every other week or every month. They're like once every so often, once a year. Because in the golden days, of musicals, that's all they see. Eventually, there were less and less of them because they react to the market. Less people went to see them, and that's why they kind of stopped making them.
That's true, but they're all reacting to the market. But that's also the skill they select for. For example, when silent movies, all these people are acting in silent movies, right? But when they have audio, those people can't find much work anymore because maybe the voice is not that good, right? It's just right now you don't find a lot of actors who can sing and dance.
Yeah.
So it's just the skills involved, or people who know how to film these things.
Definitely, it's definitely. I mean, back then, they're entertainers, and now they're more like actors.
Right.
And they're solely focused on acting. Like La La Land. If more and more of these do well, I'm sure they'll crank out more of them. It all depends on the audience. So, kind of like the superhero movies, because every one of them are doing so well. Because they're doing so well, we're seeing superhero movies almost once a month.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, let's move on to the next film on our list. At number 10 is the third wide release over the weekend, A Cure for Wellness. Only pulled in about 4.4 million over the weekend at a budget of 40 million. Kind of it is a miss. I wouldn't say it's a bomb because it's going to lose money, but it only costs 40 million. So.
Right, and if you look at the 4-day figure, it's actually number 11. It fell down to 11, and Lion took its place. So that means people then, during the holiday, the President's Day holiday on Monday, people actually went out to see these Oscar contenders, these family movies. And A Cure for Wellness is not.
Yeah, and it's directed by Gore Verbinski, who made all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Another miss for him.
Yeah, I think, let's see, where do we have? Oh yeah, I said it probably do 10 million, and you said 7 to 8 million. It's closer to you than mine. And, I thought with Gore Verbinski's name attached that people might seek his movies out, because he did do some pretty
Big hits,
well.
Pirates. It wasn't just Pirates of the Caribbean. It was also the first Wing movie that was a big hit.
Yeah, and also Rango, right? That animated film. Also the Lone Ranger.
Well, although the Lone Ranger was a bomb, so
Well, relative to his budget, but still,
yeah,
people know about it.
in a bad way though.
In a bad way, but still, like it's still a name, right? But with I don't think with no major star for The Cure for Wellness, that's what we see happen is kind of end up you out of the top 10, depending on which list you look at, right?
Right.
So it stars Jason Isaac, Mia Goth, Dane DeHaan, not well-known people.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have who's that guy in Pirates?
Doesn't have Johnny Depp.
Yeah, he doesn't have Johnny Depp to headline this movie.
Right. Let's move on to the opening movies.
All right, so we have again 3 movies, new releases this weekend. We have Collide, we have Get Out, and Rock Dog.
3 films that are not very high-profile films.
True.
Which one do you want to start out with?
Let's start off with what I think is going to be the bigger movie out of the 3. I think that is going to be Get Out. It's the horror movie by Universal, produced by Jason Blum. Yeah, it stars Catherine Keener, Bradley Whitford, Allison Williams, Daniel Kaluuya. Interracial couple who went to this place to visit. The girls. The guy is black, the girl is white, and they went to visit the girl's parents. And there they see that this dynamic where it's kind of like a plantation, right? The whites are in power, the blacks are either helps around the house.
Right, and horror happens.
Yeah, and things are not as they seem. There's brainwashing involved, and people die, etc. So
right,
basically, he's a black dude caught in a place where the whites are in power.
Yeah. Yeah, and so far on Rotten Tomatoes, there's 26 reviews, and all of them are good. So it's at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes so far, and for a horror film, that's unheard of. It'll probably be another surprise Jason Blum. I guess we can't say surprise anymore because Jason Blum productions have been doing so consistently well.
Yeah, his successes far outweighs his failures, and even with the failures, right? They're pretty cheap failures.
They're so cheap that they eventually make a profit anyway.
Right.
Yes, the reviews have been surprisingly great. Awesome. What figure are you putting it at?
Well, like I say, I think this movie is going to be the best out of the 3 new releases. I think it's going to probably do in the 25 million range. Open in the 25 million range.
Oh, you think they're high?
Yes.
Because, I haven't heard much about this film, though. And there's no, like, really big stars.
No big star, but again, it's Jason Blum. He's pretty good with his horror movies, right? Even though, with horror movies, you don't get name stars, right? So they're not the main attraction here, and the subject matter is still pretty good, right? And it again, it has this thing is horror. It's targeted toward the African American audience, pretty dependable group. So I watched a trailer. It didn't start out well, but hey, once you get into it, it's like, this is actually pretty interesting. It has a commentary. It has a social commentary aspect as well.
Yeah, the trailer does look pretty interesting. Pretty well edited, and it doesn't look like your typical horror film. But still, I hadn't heard much about it, until today, actually. Although the reviews are surprisingly good. And there is the Jason Blum brand. I'm going 15 million.
Okay, big range here between you and me, but we'll see how it will turn out. All right, how about we move on to which one you want to go next, Collide or Rock Dog?
Sure, let's do Collide.
So Collide is this action thriller. It stars Nicholas Hoult, Felicity Jones, Ben Kingsley, Anthony Hopkins. It's one of these movies where the woman played by Felicity Jones needs a replacement kidney, and Nicholas Hoult went back to his criminal days to get the money for this operation. So it's pretty much a guy with a gun.
Yeah, and car racing happens.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I'm not convinced that Nicholas Hoult is a movie star. And, he's one
You've
of
been
these
saying that for since
forever.
what's that Jack and the Beanstalk
No, Jack and the
movie?
Giant Killer.
Yeah,
Jack the
Jack and
Giant
the
Killer.
Giant. Yeah, you've been saying that since Jack the Giant Killer, the Giant Slayer.
Yeah, Giant Slayer. But it's true, he's not. They make him out. They want to make him into one of these young action stars. Young leads, not just an action star, but a young lead.
Yeah.
But I just feel just like Shailene Woodley, she's not. He's not.
I mean, Kalai also stars, Felicity Jones, who's recently hot on, Rogue One, but we're not sure if people will watch her outside of Star Wars.
Yeah, for example, Mark Hamill has a really successful career as an A-list actor, right?
Yeah.
We know
So,
that.
But surprisingly, it also has Ben Kingsley and Anthony Hopkins.
Who is cashing in a check?
Yeah,
Who are
yeah,
cashing in checks?
yeah. So there's that thing going for it. There are no reviews on Rotten Tomatoes yet. Like you said, I'm not convinced Nicholas Hoult is an action star. He hasn't shown that he can carry a film outside of the X-Men films where he's part of an ensemble. And, sure, he was in Mad Max, but again, that was more about the film and everyone else than him. I'm going 7 million.
You're 70 million? Okay, so I'm around there as well. I think it'll probably do somewhere in the range of 8 to 10. Open in the range of 8 to 10.
Okay.
Like I said, Nicholas Hoult, he's not a draw at the box office. Felicity Jones, outside of some well-known movies, she's not a draw as well. Yeah, Ben Kingsley and Anthony Hopkins are here. They're two of the bigger names, but they're at that point where, they're cashing in checks or playing parodies of themselves.
All right. Should we move on to Rock Dog?
Okay, let's go on to Rock Dog. It is an animation. According to the promos, it is by the co-director of Toy Story 2. From the production companies, it looks like it's one of these. It's made by one of these Chinese companies.
Oh,
financed.
Really?
Yeah, financed by I think, one of these Chinese companies.
Okay. But you know what? I've seen a lot of Hollywood films are co-financed by these Chinese companies now.
Yeah, and this story is kind of like Sing, right? Not kind of like Sing, but like a dog from, I guess, the Himalayas or whatever, found a guitar and he wants to become a musician.
Yeah, it's about going out your hometown or your and going to the city to follow your dreams, that kind of movie.
Right, and as we say with these Chinese influence movies, they're they also have to solve the East-West problem. Even though they don't
I'm
have
not sure
to
this.
solve
Well, I'm not sure this one has an East-West problem. I think this is one of those Hollywood films that just has a Chinese investment. I don't think it's not something that they're trying to intermingle.
But it's a Himalayan dog. It's a mountain thing. It's not like a big city. But it went to a big city to try to make it right. And they have a white guy in the form of a white dog.
Okay, all right.
Trying to guide him along.
Okay, all right. And there's the Tibetan element, right?
Yeah, right.
Although the Tibetan element is, you would think the Chinese government would have something against that. But
no, I don't know. Anyway, I'm saying there's some influence there. I'm not saying it's completely where there's the language barrier or anything, but they're made for different markets.
This one, I don't know. I think this one is probably mostly made for an American audience. Right? Even if you look at the voice cast, it's all American actors.
Yeah, right. This is an animation, so they could do different voices.
Why? I guess when they release it in China, they'll probably change it all to Chinese actors.
Right.
Since it's co-produced by a Chinese company, they might get a release date in China. Although it's kind of odd because I don't see this doing well. There's Sing and there's La La Land, and it's all about people following their dreams. And here's another one that looks kind of like a subpar version of those films.
Yeah, and it's all about like the characters, right? And it seems that the main character doesn't seem that really appealing.
Yeah, none of these characters seem that appealing. In terms of quality, it looks like TV direct to video quality animation.
Yeah, it's good enough, but still not at the level of the Pixar's, the DreamWorks.
Not even Pixar and DreamWorks, or even Illumination. It looks like subpar level animation. It looks like something that belongs more on Netflix or a streaming site than in theaters. So you know what my figure is gonna be, right? 3 million.
Whoa, 3 million.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go a bit higher than that.
4 million.
I think. No, higher, up.
Right.
I think, well, because of the voice cast, it's going to have some recognition.
I don't know. These
A little bit. Luke Wilson, J.K. Simmons.
These guys
big,
aren't huge draws.
yeah, but it's still okay, right? And then, it is an animation, even though the Lego Batman movie is still in theaters. It's something for the kids.
These aren't A-list voice talents. I mean, sure, J.K. Simmons, but J.K. Simmons is more of a character actor, someone you respect in a movie, but everyone else is not A-list voice talent.
Okay, I'm gonna throw my number out. I'm gonna go a bit higher, like I said. It's probably gonna open to about 10 million-ish, maybe.
Oh, that high?
Yeah.
I think this is one of those films that they just kind of dumped out there. So we'll see.
Yeah, you may be right. So we will see next week, see how this movie did. I mean, we get out. I guess, like I said, we both said this is going to be the best out of them. I said 25 million, you said 15, the opening figure, right? Collide, the thriller with Nicholas Hoult, who is not a star. 8 to 10 opening for me, you 7 million. So we're pretty in agreement there. Then Rock Dog. This one we kind of differ as well. You say 3 million and I say 10, because of said quality issues.
Right. So this is kind of like, this week is kind of the calm before the storm, because the following week there's Logan, and the week after that there's Kong, and then the week after that there's Beauty and the Beast.
So pretty much the summer months are coming.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, we don't have spring anymore because the
summer is slowly moving closer and closer to the winter months, and before we know it, it's summer all year long.
Yes, that's true. Logan is that Wolverine movie, right? Maybe Hugh Jackman's final Wolverine movie. That's what he always says. They just spend a lot of money
unless it does really, really well. And then,
Right. Kong is the King Kong movie, and then we have Beauty and the Beast, the Disney live action.
Yeah, and then after that we have Power Rangers and Chips.
Okay, we can skip that week.
Hey, Power Rangers. Hey.
Those movies might do very well.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll see what happens after the weekend.
Okay, see you guys next week.